You are listening to Heroes Never Die, your one-stop spot for all the latest news, Overwatch League results, and mishaps in Overwatch. Here are your hosts, Totemly Drunk and Edinar.
What is up, guys, and welcome to Heroes Never Die, your one-stop spot for all things Overwatch. I am your host, Totemly Drunk, and tonight on episode 123, we're going to discuss the latest Overwatch news. We'll discuss this week's hot community topics, take a look at contenders, NA playoffs as those are underway as of right now, and get you primed for the return of the Summer Games, and so much more. But before we can get into the news and introduce you to my co-hosts, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who is hanging out with us on Twitch for our live show, and of course, thank all of our repeat listeners. So, joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host, Edinar. And Edinar, you know, we're kind of in the little bit of a lull period. You know, we got Overwatch League wrapping up, we got some stuff on the horizon, you know, we got World Cup group stages that starts next week with the Korean stage. We got contenders Korea playoffs that are already reaching the finals. We got NA starting tonight. There's a lot going on. So how's your week been with pretty much like everything going on right now?
So I'm in game overload right now. So yesterday was possibly one of the biggest gaming days in the past few months for me. So you had the WoW, like I'm big into WoW, so I was playing all the WoW stuff for the Alliance. Hearthstone dropped the new expansion yesterday. Hamster went into competitive. Like the people at Blizzard were keeping busy. So yesterday was mainly spent playing WoW, playing Hearthstone. Didn't get into any comp in Overwatch, but I'm like, all right, I've played enough games tonight. I need to go to bed. I opened up enough packs, did enough scenarios, and WoW. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun week. I wasn't able to play over the weekend, spend time with the family, all that fun stuff. So, how's your week been in the game?
I gotta say I haven't had much time. I was gone all weekend for Flashback Weekend, which is a scary moving convention. So I was in Rosemont pretty much all weekend. And, I've kind of had some other IRL stuff that has popped up. So, I'm a little bit distracted this week until, things kind of get back to normal. But, I was on Hearthstone for a little bit yesterday. So I opened up my free packs. I didn't really play too much, last expansion. So I didn't really have like a stockpile of gold saved up to, buy bundles or anything like that, or, do the pre-purchase or whatever. But, I checked out like the Monster Hunt stuff, which I hadn't checked out in the solo adventures yet. So kind of like going through that right now and doing some of the quests that are just eating up like quest log space in Hearthstone. So I gotta get all that stuff out of the way so I can actually, get my steady stream of currency going again, because, having 2 of your 3 quests locked because of, stuff that's, kind of like sidetrack stuff is kind of annoying.
Side note to that, one thing I did that a lot of people probably don't do, but I do because I don't play, because so in Hearthstone there's Standard and Wild. Standard's the most current and what the majority of people play. If you need cards, like you're coming back to the game, if you need cards, go back, dust bunch of your old legendaries that are in Wild. Right. Just go, like you can get 15,000-20,000 dust like that and craft 2-3 awesome decks just from doing that. So yeah, I highly recommend doing that.
I will definitely be looking into that, but let's go ahead and let's jump into the news. So this week we actually got a ton of like merchandise news, so we're gonna get that out of the way first. So they've actually expanded the Tokidoki Overwatch line, and if you're unfamiliar with that line, it's basically like a Japanese inspired lifestyle brand. It's a lot of like cutesy type like figures and stuff. So they added what they are calling the Heroes Collection. So they added more hats. There's some bags, clothing, notebooks, and stickers. And this was a partnership that had started in July. This past, not this year, like last year, when the first line became available, and they kind of like unveiled that at San Diego Comic-Con. And that line had like only hats, notebooks, and clothing. So with these current items, like the cheapest thing is like $8, where you get like a five sticker pack with various characters. They have like shirts that are like $25, and I think like the most expensive thing, if you're looking on the high end, is like the backpack, which is $95. Oof. It's a pretty hefty cost for a backpack. But if you're not familiar with this style, basically like the art of the characters has them with like oversized heads. They got some pretty big like anime type eyes, and kind of tiny bodies. It definitely feels more targeted towards girls out there, just because it is more cutesy compared to some of the other stuff. But
manly.
I do like how like in the notebook they have like little character doodles like on each page.
Yeah, no, I was taking a look at all this. I mean, so the hoodie, I actually like the hoodie. I'm not gonna buy the hoodie, but like out of everything they had from the Tokidoki, the hoodie stood out to me the most. I think a lot of people are gonna get the lanyard, especially with BlizzCon coming up. People like to get unique lanyards and stuff like that, so I could see them getting a lanyard like that. The backpack, I don't think they're gonna sell much of. $95 for a backpack, like a hard pass on that one. But yeah, no, it's definitely artsy, cutesy type of stuff.
Like, I feel like with $95, you can buy that much worth of stickers and then still have an excess amount of space inside the backpack.
Exactly. Or you could just buy a custom Overwatch jersey.
This is true, for like $5 more.
Yeah. See, I'd rather do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of like jersey stuff, like I'm pretty sure like they have stuff on the like the Overwatch League gear store with some discounted gear. Now I haven't actually looked at the prices, but I have seen some people talking about that over on the Discord. So be sure to keep an eye on that, see if there's any good deals that you guys are looking out for. But in other merchandise news, we actually got a look at the second Nerf rival in the Overwatch line. This one is for D.Va. So they have D.Va's light gun, aka, the bunny blaster. So that's going to be getting the Nerf treatment. And this one can shoot up to 80 feet per second. So, slightly less range than the shotgun. Is that how math works?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I don't know these things. But just like the Reaper one, this is a replica, and it's kind of like pricing some of the Nerf rifles stuff like on Amazon, and like the gun prices range anywhere from like $20 on a low end to like $80-$90. So I have no idea where exactly this is going to fall, but like as someone that likes to cosplay, like maybe this is an alternative that cosplayers can use. It might be a little bit more cost effective for putting together their costumes for conventions.
Yeah, no, totally. I can definitely see that because obviously people who cosplay as D.Va don't generally get into a full mech, so it's not gonna work. Not gonna work out. But having the bunny
if they do, it's made of cardboard.
Yes, but they're gonna dominate. I mean, the thing is I like it's a cool Nerf gun. And I mentioned this earlier in the week. I feel they could have gotten a more recognizable gun or a more used gun. Like D.Va's bunny blaster, you don't see baby D.Va out that often. Like, and her gun is not like let's get her gun. I was thinking like maybe Tracer's gun. I mean, you could.
But it's pink.
Tracer's gun can be pink. Like, it's just one of those things where I have no problem with this. I feel they could have gone with a more like, this isn't D.Va's primary weapon. It's not. Her primary weapon is on her mech. So I don't know. That's just me nitpicking.
See, I absolutely have no problem with this because one, D.Va is kind of like the other poster child. Yes, I know Tracer would probably. I'm sure Tracer is going to be one of the next ones in line. It's kind of hard to see like where exactly they'd go after that. Like, I highly doubt we're going to see anything with Reinhardt with a hammer or an axe, depending on if they do like skin specific stuff. But yeah, I can definitely see them doing Tracer just because the pulse pistol is pretty pretty big in the game. But I feel like at least with some of the female characters, they had some more options, but, some of them are pretty close. So, choosing between Mercy and Diva, I have no problem that they went the Diva route. But I'm just excited to see what other characters we are going to be getting with this line. And, I know my nephew is going to be all over these. And I'm sure my niece is going to be buying this one in particular, just because it is pink and it will have bunnies on it. So, either way, like, they're covering, both sides with the Nerf rifle already. So, we got one male one, we got one female one, and, they can just expand from here.
Now they just need one for Uncle Totem to destroy them with.
Yeah, we just need the, I'm trying to think what would be the best one. I mean, it would be cheap to say Bastion, but, like, I guess Sombra would technically work, too.
Sombra would technically... Soldier.
Yeah.
Soldier 76 is one.
Yeah, I can see them doing that one.
Maybe even McCree. But McCree... See, here's the problem. They can't really do McCrees. Because I hate to say it, in the age we live in, that's too realistic. Like, I'm sorry, a little kid playing with that gun, it's a little too realistic for some people's likings. So, yeah, I don't know if they'll do a McCree one.
Well, it's not only that, but... you also kind of have to think about the design because, these Nerf rifles, they shoot, like, these little, like, yellow foam balls. I don't know really how that would exactly work in a revolver-type gun, because normally with the revolver ones, they have more of the darts, not so much the spears.
Oh, they have revolver Nerf guns.
Oh, I know that. Like, they also have the pistol ones as well. But that's besides the point. Moving on, as we had mentioned prior, there is a fourth wave of the Overwatch Pop line, which is the Funko Pops. So we reported back in June about this, and the fourth wave is officially out. For pre-order anyway, so you can pre-order all 6. So in Wave 4, we have Hanzo, Doomfist, Torbjorn, Ana, Orisa, and Genji. There's also... a 2-pack that is Blizzard exclusive on the Gear Sword that has Roadhog and Junkrat, and both heroes are kind of wearing some of their variant costumes as well. So, kind of like looking at the field now there are only 4 heroes in the game that have not gotten the pop treatment at this point. So we got Brigitte, Hammond, no surprise there, the 2 newest heroes, and then we have Bastion and Moira. So, only 4 left, so, we've gone through the vast majority of the roster. I'm not like the biggest fan of Funko Pops. I don't really have that many. I think I only have a couple, if I'm being honest. I know I definitely have Reaper. But, this just isn't... Funko Pops just really aren't my jam. Some of them look good, some of them don't really look that well, and a lot of that just has to do with the Funko treatment with just, like, the big head design. I don't feel like it fits every hero. But that being said, like, I really do like the Orisa one out of this line. If I do get one from Wave 4, it would most likely be that one. But if you're a collector out there, and I'm sure Spider already has pre-ordered all of his, these are definitely more that you can add to your collection.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean... I like Funko Pops. I know I have what you would maybe call an addictive personality. So if I start collecting the Funko Pops, I won't stop. Mm-hmm. I'll turn into Spider times 10. Like, I'll pre-order every single one of them, and then I'll go to the Funko Pop store, because I think they have one now in California, and I'll be like, ooh, what do we have here? And yeah, I'd go out of control. But I agree with you, the Orisa one, and I do like the Torbjorn one, just because it comes with a little turret. Right. It's hard not to like that one. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So in other news, now that we're done with the merch stuff, it seems like every week we're getting more merchandise news. It's just been some of those weeks, guys. We have an update on the write-in staff for Overwatch. So this is a little bit older news, but we hadn't talked about it, and it kind of like slipped through our fingertips, because this had happened, I think, like it's like 8 or 9 days ago, but I want to bring it up because I do feel like it is important. So the Overwatch team has added Nebula Award-winning writer Alyssa Wan. She's an accomplished author in short fiction, where she earned a World Fantasy Award as well as the Nebula Award. She's also won the Losik Award for Best Novelette. And, since the game's release, we've kind of seen some different ways about, expanding the lore. We've seen, like, the digital comics or just, the comics in general, and those were, typically 7-8 pages, and, we also had some cinematics, but those kind of just, like, stopped. Like, I don't know what the deal is currently with the season of cinematics. It's been a while. But, the releases of these, like, different medias has definitely slowed down. At one point they were talking about doing, like, a graphic novel, but, that got canceled. That was quite a while ago. But, like, there's a definite need for more lore in the game, and, we've seen kind of, like, outside sources, like, there was a certain studio that was doing, like, they had the Widowmaker short. I think it was Lupin Productions. Like, they did Widowmaker, they did a Mercy one. And, those have been awesome. I hope to see, more outside companies doing that. But, like, we need another expansion of lore. So, with that being said, Ed, like, what are you hoping to see in regards to the writing for the lore? Because, like, right now we kind of seem to be at a standstill, and, like, we only get, like, small glimpses every time, a new hero is released. Like, with Wrecking Ball, we got a little bit more just because it's tied in directly to, the Horizon Lunar Colony escape, and he's kind of, like, tied into Winston. But, kind of, like, outside of that, it's been kind of on a download lately.
Yeah, no, I wanted to bring this up for a couple weeks now, and I keep forgetting when we're recording. I'm not upset. More like, where the hell are our shorts? Like, the shorts are what everyone loves, and was the last one we got at BlizzCon? It might at I think the May one was probably our last one that we got. Like, actual short. I know we got other, like, weird animation ones, but we haven't really gotten anything since last BlizzCon. I think the sign that they signed this new writer means they're obviously going to do something lore related and story related. Now, whether that is a short or a movie, fingers crossed, or if they just want to do, because Alyssa Wong she's known for her short stories. Even short stories posted on the Overwatch website, stuff like that would be fine. Not ideal, because people like visual things. They just do. So, like, I would prefer it to be a short, but you can tell so much. And look at what WoW's done. Mm-hmm. Like, with their animated shorts and their cutscenes and all that stuff. They're telling the story of the game through, like, shorts. Overwatch can do the same thing. They just need to actually release them. But I think they bringing her in will create kind of like it's to go back to WoW. One of the most accomplished WoW novel writers, Christy Golden, who wrote so many books for WoW, and she wrote a bunch of books for Star Wars, which were all wildly popular as well. Well, she now is actually officially hired by Blizzard, and she writes for WoW, and she helped write all the shorts. She helps write for Hearthstone, even. Like, you bring in a novelist to help write for Hearthstone, of all things, and so, like, that, we're gonna get more. It's just a matter of what venue we get. I hope it's short, and I hope it's more of a movie than a short. Like, I'm not saying, like, hey, we need a 2-hour release, but, like, half hour, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, like, I've been pretty happy with the animated shorts with, like, the, kind of, like, 6 to 8 minute duration that we've been getting. It's just, It's kind of a letdown though, just because we haven't really heard anything other than like more coming basically, and that was a while ago. Like we just haven't really seen the updates. So hopefully we'll be getting one soon. Fingers crossed. And there's some other stuff like that's coming up this week that I know a lot of people are gonna be excited about because some people missed out on an opportunity to get BlizzCon tickets. So guys, now is your chance. They're actually doing a Wave 3 for BlizzCon tickets. And that will be on Saturday, August 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So if you missed the first two waves, or, if you didn't luck out, you can try again. So just as a reminder, the tickets are priced at $199, plus applicable taxes and fees, and BlizzCon will be held on November 2nd and 3rd in Anaheim, California. And, one of us will be there. Unfortunately, you were not making it. Sad face. But, I know Spider will be there. I'll be sure to give him a hard time. And who knows, we might be on World of Podcasts. We're waiting to hear. As soon as we know, we'll definitely get you guys in know on that. But, this is a good chance to, group up with people, try to get tickets again, and, hopefully you can luck out this time. If not, you can always look on, looking for BlizzCon.com or other third-party sites for, face value. Obviously, you don't want to be paying an arm and a leg from, scalpers, because that's never good. But if you're going to be out in that area anyway, definitely hit up Con Before the Storm that Thursday, because there's going to be a ton of stuff going on, and World of Podcast is happening thanks to Medieval Times. So we hope to see you guys there, and if you are going, we will definitely be chilling at the World Cup, probably the entire event, with the podcast crew for sure.
Oh, God, I hate you guys. So I've already planned, I'm coming next year. I can't make it this year, but I already actually requested off for it. Like, the same time next year already, because I will be coming to this. So it's nice to see that people are, people got tickets, or people who didn't get tickets are going to get another chance, which they don't normally do. They normally only do the first two rounds, and that's it. So this is nice of them. And it's not like, hey, they're having a desperate third round to sell tickets. It's no. They're just letting more people in. Like, plain and simple, that's what it is. Because there's no way they didn't sell out immediately on the first and second one, because I tried to get tickets on the first and second one to help people out. But good for you guys. Definitely go see Con Before the Storm. Go see World of Podcasts. Harass Totem. Harass Spider. Harass all of them. From me. Don't mind me. I'll just be at my apartment watching it on my TV. Not getting sick from con crud.
I actually haven't had that problem. Knock on wood. I don't have wood near me. Close enough. Whatever. Let's move on to this week's hot community topics. So first up, we got to talk about that hamster that's just been rolling through everything. That being Hammond, he has hit competitive play. And, so obviously, Wrecking Ball came out 2 weeks ago on July 24th, and now he is on the ladder. And because of that, I have not been on the ladder since Tuesday. We always go through, the struggle really early on with new heroes, getting on, competitive. People want to try him out. A lot of experimenting going on. And, yes, there's the slew of, other changes that recently hit, too. But, Hammond is interesting to me. I'm still struggling to determine, what exactly he is. So, for starters, and I'll use an example of what we saw tonight already in Contenders. So, I find it really hard to consider Hammond to be a main tank. Primarily because, one, his personal shield just does not last long enough for him to, sustain his position. And, really, he needs that position to really be able to do anything. If you don't have control of the point, it's really hard to have the space to work with if you're Hammond. And while his mobility is great, it's also kind of dependent on the terrain, so it's not always available to you. So you also have like no barrier to block damage from ultimate, so you have really no way of blocking a self-destruct or a Deadeye. But you have great saw potential, so you can definitely be able to peel due to that mobility that you have. You can deny space with his minefield ultimate, but to me, like, minefield seems kind of lackluster to me, and I don't know if it's just because I haven't played Hammond enough, but I feel like it's just more a zoning tool than anything. Like, I don't really see the use outside of just that. And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how many tank zoning tools do we have? Like Diva, take Diva bombs out of Poco's hands, and Diva's mech is either a zoning tool or oh shit, I need to get another mech tool. Reinhardt's, I mean, not Reinhardt's slam, but I mean Winston, zoning tool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not doing it to get the kills, you're getting it to clear space. So I mean, I have no problem with his ult. I think, well, obviously he's not a main tank. There's no way he can be a main tank because he can't protect anyone except stand in front of them and take bullets for them. That's really all he can do. Well, anyone can do that. So he's not a main tank. I don't think he's as good as Diva though. Like, his big thing is he could be a replacement for Diva on certain teams, like dive teams. I don't know if he's as good as Diva. I just don't. Like, his bullets don't do as much damage. He's good to counter snipers on certain maps, but even then, it's just he's not that great. Like, and I've been watching a lot of streamers try and play him, and it just none of it is working out well for them. Even like like you, I've been avoiding comp play since Hammond came out, and even in quick play, I'm not even seeing him. Like, if people in quick play aren't even playing him, I don't think Hamster or Hammond is getting that much play in comp, because I don't think, like, people love the idea of him, but people are smart enough to know they're not good at him.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it also goes to the point is, does he actually fit in a team? Like, what other tank does he fit best with? Zarya? Like, Zarya is probably the best tank I can think of that fits with him, because she can bubble him, get free charge. Like, and that's all I can think of off the top of my head, because with Reinhardt, I mean, I don't think they don't really mesh well together. Like, so maybe Winston and do a new dive comp. I don't know. I'm not impressed with Hammond so far, and I think something has to change. Either people have to figure out a comp that works with Hammond, or we're going to start seeing like okay, we have another not used new character, kind of like what we did with Doomfist and whatnot when they first came out. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm optimistic. Like you said, we saw a little bit in Contenders today, and the best team in Contenders, hands down, Fusion University is the best team in NA Contenders, and it's not even close. Got smoked playing Hammond. They did. They just flat out got smoked playing Hammond. And it's like, if the best team in the world can't figure out how to make Hammond work, or best team in Contenders can't figure out how to make him work, what choice do plebs like us have? Like, like, if they can't even make him work, what do we got? So, yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about the Hamster.
Yeah, like, I feel like even still, after 2 weeks, we're still in that experimentation phase. Like, for Fusion University today, if you haven't watched Contenders, or if you're gonna check it back later, in the first couple of games, they had Beast Halo running on Hammond instead of Winston, which he primarily plays, and they were basically pairing it with Bernard, who was on Diva, so they were actually using Hammond as a main tank, and that didn't really work out so well. We also saw quite a bit of Sombra on both sides, actually. So we've been seeing a lot of, like, dive with Sombra kind of in a mix, where, Sombra will be stealth, she'll go for the hack on the dive target, and then the dive will come in. But there were a lot of times where the dive target would actually be on Hammond, and Beast Halo would just get wrecked at that point. But they have since forced a Met 5, so I'm curious to see whether or not they can hold on, because that would be a huge upset if Toronto moves up.
Wait, I thought you weren't gonna have it up, so you weren't.
I don't have the stream up, but I have over.gg up.
Okay, all right, just checking.
Just keeping tabs. So it's going to be very delayed, as most things are on that site. But I feel like it'll probably be another couple of weeks until we get like the full gist of the situation, and I'm sure at some point we'll be getting an Omnic Meta report on Hammond and his effect in the meta, or his pick rate, things like that. But just based off of what we've seen, it's really hard to picture him being on par with the other tanks right now. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that. And speaking of Omnic Meta, we do have a new analysis piece that was posted by our friend Switch at omnicmeta.com. This one focuses on patch 1.26, and it primarily focuses on two heroes in particular. So it focuses on Mei and Sombra. So obviously with patch 1.26, we got a slew of changes. They removed the fall-off damage from Mei's secondary fire, so we got Sniper Mei back. There were also a ton of fall-off damage reductions for hit-scan heroes. We saw the Hanzo Storm Arrow nerfs. We also had the Sombra Infinite Stealth and Translocator. And, Mei, basically kind of across the board, her averages have gone up. She's posting 6% more eliminations on average, plus 9% more damage output, and 12% final blows. And it's kind of interesting, her increases get higher and higher, the further up the tiers you go in competitive. So, at higher ends, she is being more and more effective. And the thing is despite all of that, when you compare her to the rest of the damage heroes in the game, Mei doesn't fare that well. So, out of the 15 heroes, she is 12th in eliminations, 14th in damage done, and 15th in final blows across the 15 damage heroes. So, yeah, that's a thing. So, across the board, Mei is not doing so good, and, a lot of it's just due to the fact that she just does not have the same damage output as, the other snipers out there, because Hanzo is still, such a prevalent part of the meta right now.
Yeah, no, they even point out in this that, the closest comparison to Mei, and this is hard for people to understand, is Mei is a weird sniper. That's what she is now. With her no damage fall off, she has the same rate of fire as Hanzo's main weapon, but just does a crap ton less damage. So it's if you're not taking advantage of her ice wall, her ice block, her freeze, stuff like that, she's basically a shitty Hanzo. That's essentially what she is. She's like a bronze level Hanzo player, and if you can't, there's so few maps where her utility can really shine that her pick rate shouldn't be that high. And I don't know, maybe they need to up the damage of her right click. I don't know what they can do to make her more viable. Because right now, yes, they made her less crappy, but she's still not that good. She can avoid damage pretty well, but she can't get away from damage. And one-on-one, I mean, so many characters now can get away from things quickly that her freeze is not as effective as it once was. I mean, and when you think of it, there's two tanks now that can't get away from her freeze instantaneously. Supports never have movement abilities outside of Mercy flying away and Moira. But I mean, even against the Baguette can just put her shield up and stun her. That's all she needs to do, and then it stops. So it's her freeze is so ineffective in this game right now with the characters that are out that she really is not useful at all, except getting that random sniper May pickoff that is 50% skill, 50% just pure luck. So yeah, I don't know. She's getting played more, yes. Is she? Should you really consider picking her in comp? No. You really shouldn't, unless you're trying to stall the point.
Yeah, like I'm fine seeing Mei with the stall tactics or on control, or like if you're going up against 303 comp, she does really good against the triple tank, triple support.
Against triple tank, triple support. There are a lot of that's why I hate that comp, because there's so many good counters to that comp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's mostly like I don't mind her so much anymore. It just depends on the situation. So like let's say Hanamura attack. Like I'm absolutely okay running a Mei to wall off that window on the left hand side of the choke. In case someone's doing scouting, things like that. Or there are some hallways that you can just easily just wall off on control maps. But it's a level of consistency with her damage that is causing her to fall off in this current meta. But I am curious to see kind of like how she evolves over time on the higher side of things, just because it does seem like the masters and grandmasters are finding her to be a lot more useful. But she's not the only damage hero that saw some tweaks that is suffering quite a bit. Because Sombra is actually kind of in the same category outside of one thing in particular. So with the Sombra infinite stealth and translocator change, her survivability has done pretty well. So her deaths per 10 minutes has actually gone down 8%. So that's a pretty big jump overall. And in regards to deaths per 10 minutes, she's actually the best amongst all of the damage heroes in the game at 6.8 deaths per 10 minutes. So, the other numbers are kind of like all over the place. So she's seeing 3% more eliminations per 10 minutes. Her damage output is, only 2% less, but, a lot of that is just due to the fact that you are in stealth more. And she's also seen her final blows increase by 8%. So you're seeing more of the scout or like infiltrator type role for Sombra, which I'm not a fan of it personally, but we did kind of see quite a bit of Sombra in contenders today, where Sombra would basically initiate the hack, and that would be the dive target, and it was pretty clean execution at that level. Now outside of that level, just on ladder, like Sombra is not doing so hot. So out of the 15 damage heroes, she's practically in last in a lot of categories. So she's 14th in eliminations, 15th in damage, and 14th in final blows. So despite seeing an increase in, that assassination type role, she's still second to last in final blows. So, something's not quite right. But, I feel like what we see on pro play isn't necessarily going to work its way down into, the ladder. I just feel like ladder has its own kind of like set meta, and there are certain things that will adapt just kind of like across the board, but like the Sombra play to me just doesn't seem like that's going to be one.
No, I don't think it is either, because like you said, they didn't really do anything to change Sombra's damage. She's just got more survivability now, and people are playing her like like she's invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I can 2v1 the backline. Well, no, you can't, because you'll still get beat by a semi-decent team by two supports in the back line, because you either have to A, die, or B, teleport back to your location. And then it's just like you weren't even there. When you watched them on Contenders tonight, none of them were playing backline. They were all playing the scout in the thick of things, type of Sombra play. And I think that's the only way you can play her now, but that's honestly only something that can be played in pros. It's not something that can be played in ladder, because there's just not that much coordination and teamwork in ladder. Yeah, like you said, her eliminations went up, damage done, and deaths went down. So like eliminations went up, damage went down. That's because, she's just not a damage dealer anymore. She's about as deadly as, Symmetra. Like,
Yeah, basically, like, she's the initiator.
yeah,
Like, she'll land the peppering shots, and then the dive will come in to finish the job.
yeah. It's Sombra, Mei, and Symmetra are still the bottom 3 damage dealers in all of this, and they're gonna stay that way for a while, probably, until they get another rework. I hate to say it because I don't see any changes coming that will bring other people down below them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 100% for Sombra not being that dominant. Because anything that has stealth, I'm not a fan of. Just the amount of times I'll just be going and be like, I'm hacked. There's no damage getting done to me. This is just more annoying than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how I see it. I'm glad Sombra's not game changing right now. But if she does start to become more prevalent in the pro scene, people will start playing her in ladders, in gold, diamond, all that stuff, because they saw the pros do it. If the pros can do it, then why doesn't it work for me? Type of thing. So
we just need Dante to show everyone how it's done again, like he did for the Shock and Overwatch League. But I am curious to see, now that we're in the Contenders playoffs on patch 1.26, if the Sombra pick rate is going to be consistent across the board, because we saw a lot of it already tonight on both sides of the field. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. Mm-hmm. But we have to talk a little bit about the Overwatch League, because there's some talks, or at least brief discussions about potentially getting some new type of cameras for the Overwatch League. So obviously, they're looking at ways to improve the league ahead of Season 2. And one of the things that the league is considering is offering single-player view for spectators. Now, I definitely want to talk about other improvements, but, we've seen the Overwatch viewing experience kind of like evolve over the last couple of years. We got the whole skin system. So, we had home and away. You could tell, like, who was actually firing what if they were two of the same hero in the same game, which is, always nice. And it is still pretty frantic. So, there's a certain level of discomfort for new viewers when it comes to the constant, like, camera shifts, just, like, the high-speed nature of the game. I know some people kind of get, a little bit nauseous when watching that arcade style. But the single player view where you can focus on one particular person in the game, that is one of the most clamored for options by the fan base. So are you expecting this to be put in for the next season? Do you think this could be something that they could kind of bundle into, say, the all access pass as another perk?
Yeah, no, this is definitely something that will be all access pass if they bring it in. Which I think they will, but like you said, a lot of people are clamoring for it, and I don't get why. Just because you want to follow one person doesn't mean you're going to get the best Overwatch experience. But giving more flexibility to people is something that everyone will like. So, I mean, I don't know if I'd watch it if it was just individual single player view for spectators. I don't know if I'd be for that. I'd rather have the team Overwatch has doing that. But if they connect it with the all access pass, I think that'd be brilliant. It would sell more all access pass for Season 2. So yeah, it's gonna come. I think sooner or later it's bound to come. And this is just another way for everyone just to follow DPS characters.
I was gonna say, like, when I think about this, I'm like, well, they already focus on the Widowmaker, like, primarily when it comes to, that point of view. So it necessarily wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary if they were to introduce this, because they already are kind of like getting the limelight regardless.
Yeah, it would be interesting if they held stats for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's the most viewed character of the season?
It's not
Like,
Symmetra.
that would... No, sorry. Who's the most viewed player?
Mm-hmm.
Like, would it be Carpe? Would it be, Sebeobi? Pine would probably be up there, but he only plays in, like, half the maps.
It would actually be Raucus's hair.
Raucus's hair.
Yeah.
Yes. Raucus's hair wins everything. Or unless, Prophet decides to keep flipping off the camera.
This is true.
Yeah, maybe he's gonna get it. So
I mean, with that $1 million prize pool, that's a lot of fines that they could pay through.
yeah, they could totally pull that off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But let's talk about like general improvements that we would like to see for season 2. So obviously one of the big things when we kind of look at the players' perspective was the schedule and how that kind of affected the players. We kind of saw players getting stressed out. We saw some mental health struggles with some players in particular, or just homesickness, things like that. Players at times were just physically drained, whether that was from rigorous 12-hour training days, if you're the Shanghai Dragons, or playing back-to-back games. Just general burnout. So I would love for them to just outright just eliminate teams from playing on back-to-back days to ensure that they get a little bit more rest. Because you don't want to be, like, closing out, Friday night and then playing the first game on, Saturday. That always sucks. I mean, it's always kind of, like, been the same case with traditional sports, too, playing, a doubleheader or, back-to-back days, especially if the travel. So I like for them to, put that out of the way because, like, when you play back-to-back like that, like, it doesn't give the teams enough time to really fully prepare for that second game. A lot of their attention would be on one opponent as opposed to, getting set plays and strats in for, that second game. But, like, do you think, like, there's a chance that we'll see, like, a reduction of overall games being played throughout the season, too? Because that's, like, another thing. Like, it's kind of like a combination of, short breaks in between stages, to just the amount of games being played each week, to how many games there are in a season. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can kind of look at the scheduling and how to, like, kind of rearrange it.
Well, all right, so I think the OWL will take almost into effect what the NFL does. Since we're going to be getting probably between 3 to 6 new teams, I'm hoping for 6 new teams. It's not like they're going to add an extra day onto the week. Like, they're not going to be like, okay, now we're going to be playing Tuesday through Saturday instead of Wednesday. No, what they're going to do is they're going to probably give a team off every week. Like, each week, a team is going to have a bye week. They won't have to play at all. Then you'll also have weeks where some teams may only play once instead of twice. It's the only way to do it, but without adding either an extra day on or extra matches on during the day. And if you do that, then you start getting dwindling viewership. Because I think they probably have to add it on beforehand. Mm-hmm. Because they already go past like midnight in the United States, which is one of their biggest viewers. And so now you're looking at like, okay, now games start at 4 o'clock Eastern. Well, people aren't going to be watching that. A lot of people are at work. So they have to get creative with this, with teams playing maybe once a week instead of twice. I mean, teams will still play twice a week, but some teams may only play 1 week. Teams will get complete bye weeks and have like just the week off. And that's when like you'll see players go back to Korea for the week and go see their family, recharge their batteries, stuff like that. And that's what happens in the NFL. And I think it's needed, especially with how long this season is. They need to give Like there's breaks in between stages, but that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they can extend the break in between stages because they don't want to like people to lose interest at all. So I think having bye weeks throughout the stage is something that they should really look into. Because I mean, with 18 teams, hopefully 18 teams, there's a lot. I mean, there's essentially, you could give 2 teams off every week during a stage, like just like that. So yeah, I think that's what they'll probably end up doing.
Yeah, I mean, like, even, like, okay, so, like, when we look at some other sports, it's very common for, like, the All-Star game to kind of be that midway break. Obviously, with the Overwatch League this season, they kind of, like, shied away from that because it is at the end of the season, so, there is always a chance that they could move that All-Star event to, between Stage 2 and Stage 3, if they were to extend, at least one of the rest periods. They don't have to do it necessarily for every stage, but there's still enough there to bring the viewers in without really like lowering the amount of viewers kind of like in between the stuff. But like that's the thing. Like one of the other major gripes that people have had is with the patch cycles. Because there have been teams that have looked really good in certain stages, and then the playoffs hit, and then we're on a new patch. So like it's very hard to like kind of like wrap my brain around this because like there are times where absolutely I want to be playing on the live servers, but there's been times where they've had bug issues where a map could just reset if something happens, and they absolutely do not want that ruining the game experience. But on the other side of the coin, you also have, well, players don't really want to be watching a game that isn't like adaptable to like the situation that they're in because they'd be playing on an old patch in the league compared to what is on live servers. So that's like the biggest thing. Like, would they actually patch around the Overwatch League schedule? Like, I don't know. I mean, yes, the Overwatch League is already kind of like their cash cow, for lack of a better term, but not everyone is watching the Overwatch League, and I don't think you can really put the game on hold in regards to the patch cycle just because of the esports side of Overwatch.
Yeah, the one thing that I think that they could do that could kind of be of a cross between both sides of the argument is, like you said, there's going to be bugs with new characters. There's going to be bugs with Hamster and bugs with new maps and stuff like that. I don't think, like, for instance, Hammond, I think they should be on live servers. I think for new characters and new maps, they should only be playable once they're available and competitive. That gets the really chance of having a truly broken character out of the game. And, when there's something wrong with, like, if, let's say, Hanzo was overpowered, which he was. Baguette was overpowered. She was. Like, they nerfed him, and it took him a little bit, but they got it out fairly quick. You're talking 2-3 weeks. That's not that detrimental as one would probably think, because all teams have the same advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Like all teams are dealing with the same, like, okay, this seems a little broken. It's not like one team is like getting the advantage over another. It's they all have this advantage. So I think if they went to live servers, but then held off any new characters or new maps until they were available in comp, so they could be actually tested, that I would be okay with. Otherwise, they can't be on live servers. They just can't. Right. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, because I do think they're going to change it. Because, I mean, even the casters, the players have all been like, this has been horrible. Like, and it's not like they can practice. Like, they couldn't even practice really the new characters, because the new character, like Hammond, they couldn't really practice Hammond because he wasn't on the patch that they were playing on. Why practice a character they can't actually play? So then they're behind. If this was in mid-season, then they're behind. So it's just, something will have to happen with this.
Yeah, whether it's a slight delayed like that or just not patching throughout like a stage, like, cause like that was the other thing too, like differentiating like the stage and the stage playoffs on different patches was kind of throwing people off too, because we kind of became accustomed to like watching Apex be played on the same patch throughout. As you know, I know a lot of people that would prefer it to be that way. But you know, there is also something kind of to be said about, you know, adaptability in the evolving metas, and you know, it's trial by fire in some cases. But you know, I'd rather have a smoother game experience in that regard, as opposed to just being like, okay, let's see whatever team is best on this meta, because that's going to be the team that dominates, which sure was the case throughout Season 1. So, I know, definitely, like, it'll be an interesting couple of months ahead, as, you know, we got, you know, the windows opening, new expansion teams coming up, you know, all of that good stuff. So, it's definitely going to be a lot to cover, but I'm excited for next season. I can't wait for our Chicago team to finally get announced at some point, hopefully, you know, within the next couple of weeks. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go inside Overwatch Contenders and the Overwatch League. So, Ed, you know, we are wrapping up, well, we actually have wrapped up Contenders North America group stage, and we're now in the playoffs. But what went down in Week 5 in regards to our affiliate teams?
So, for Contenders, for NA, we'll go over the NA first before we go over the playoffs for the NA Contenders. So, NRG Esports, Shock, defeated Skyfox's Story Nothing. XL2 Academy, defeated by Week 4-0. And Team Envy, the Fuel team, defeated Toronto Esports, the Uprising team, 3-2, to basically head into the playoffs. And I mean, in the playoffs, so like the bracket in the playoffs are, you have Fusion versus Toronto Esports, Envy versus Last Night's Leftovers, Sugar Free, XL2 Academy versus Mayhem Academy, and then Legion, Gladiators Legion versus NRG Esports. And I mean, what do you think is going to happen? I think there's an obvious selection here.
Okay, so one of these games has already happened. So initially I thought for sure Fusion Uni was going to 3-0 this. That did not happen. I did look at the map score, and they did pull off the reverse sweep. So Fusion University did come back. So, you know, repeat of kind of like last season. But, man, this Team Envy versus LNL game has me so excited. I cannot wait to watch this after the podcast, because, you know, you and I are huge Sugar Free fans, but on the same time, like, you know, Envy is a team that I followed when they were in Vision, and I like that team, and I've seen a lot more consistency, because with LNL, like, if they don't have Sugar Free in, or if Sugar Free isn't on point, like, I feel like a lot of the bite is taken out of that team. So I'm going to give this one to Envy. I have it 3-1, but I don't know if you're going to differ from me, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this one.
Oh, no. So I'm with you on this one. I mean, I love LNL, and I love Sugar Free. I can't go against Envy. I just can't. Mm-hmm. That team is playing so well right now. I mean, McGravy. Yeah, McGravy is amazing. Having Tailspin back. Buds on that. Oh, yeah. No. Crimzo, you know, iShiny. Yeah, you're not. It's, to me, the two best. They're the second best team in my mind in Contenders. XL2 Academy probably up there too with Envy, but I like Envy better than I like XL2 Academy. So 3-1 would probably be my pick, just because I don't think LNL will get swept. But to see a non-affiliate team make the playoffs on its own is huge. Like, just to be where they are for LNL is gigantic. So, you know, good on them, regardless of the outcome. But yeah, 3-1 up for me on that one.
Yeah, and just speaking of, the North American scene, so if you don't follow Contenders, a lot of the affiliate teams, these academy teams, are in NA. And just across the board, out of the 12 teams that are in Contenders NA, 8 of those are affiliate teams, so only 4 of them are from, Trials or, Open Division, and LNL was the only one out of that lot in NA to secure a playoff spot with a 3-2 record. In their group, and they've been looking pretty good. Sugar Free is kind of like their prodigy, so I'm always excited to see him play. So in regards to the other matches, we have Exel2 Academy and Mayhem Academy, and I thought Toronto would have got swept. I am more certain that Mayhem will get swept in this series because XL2 is just a whole nother beast. So, New York is in this, curious position where they have, 4 or 5 really damn good DPS players in their organization. They're just, across the field. Because Nene, I don't know what the heck they're going to do with Nene, because Nene is just... He's been smoking everyone in Contenders. And it's gotten to the point now where everyone has kind of, forgotten about Flower, or Nanohana, as he's referred to again, because that was his old name prior. So, I'm really curious to see whether or not they're going to be shopping him around to try to get, a really good deal. Or, just more money. But, Mayhem Academy have been just... They haven't looked so good this season. They picked up a win over Second Wind, which was one of the lower end teams. They did beat, the Outlaws Academy team, but they dropped to LNL. They lost to Fusion University, and just across the board, they don't have the same team synergy that we've seen from XL2 Academy. And I just feel like knowing that XL2 is all playing from the same facility, XL2 should have no problem picking up this win. Just across the board, they are the better team. And I feel like, regardless of what meta variations we're going to be able to see, just Nene is going to take control of this series. Shaxx is going to have a very hard time in this series, but if Mayhem Academy have any chance, it'll be off the back of Shaxx, but I would not count on it in this one.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going 4-0. Like you said.
You're going 4-0 in a best of 5. Bold move.
You know what I mean. I'm just used to saying 4-0 from the Overwatch League. So XL2 is going to sweep. Just, it's going to happen. Plain and simple. I don't think we're going to have a Fusion Toronto esports situation because I don't think XL2 is stupid enough to play Hamster right now and stick with Hamster. But, the XL2 DPS is just... It's the trickle-down effect from the Excelsior. It's okay, so we probably have 2 of the top 20 DPS in all of Overwatch League and all of Overwatch on our Contenders team type of situation. It's insane. So... I think I heard a podcast say the New York Excelsior or Korea basically on its own, their 4th tier team can beat any American team, and most of those top Korean players are on XL2 Academy and New York Excelsior. So, it's gonna be a sweep for XL2 Academy. I don't think Mayhem have the chance. Just like in the Overwatch League. Weird. Mayhem has no chance against the New York team. Never would have guessed that.
But who knows? Maybe XL2 will fold in the playoffs too. You never know. But the Gladiators Legion and Energy esports game is probably the toughest one to call. Mm-hmm. I feel like out of all the series, this one is the likeliest to go all 5 maps. And I keep flipping on this one, so I really like both of these teams. I think the Legion are going to take this one, and I say that primarily because I have more faith in their tank duo of Gods and Panker than I do of Swan and Smex. Not to take anything away from Smex, because Smex is by far, I think, one of the better off tanks in contenders. Swan at times gets a little bit too aggressive on the Winston, and Stratus is my boy. He's one of the other young prodigies DPS wise in NA. But Poise has been pretty susceptible in their lineup, and I feel like. I feel like the space created by the Legion frontline is just going to be enough to just bully energy. But that being said, you gotta look out for Rascal. Rascal will be playing, kind of the off-meta stuff for energy esports. I'm sure he'll be making things pretty interesting. But these two teams are pretty close, but I think it will really just come down to the tank line. And the synergy is more in line with the Legion than it is for energy. But this one is going to be a barn burner, to say the least.
100%. And I think you nailed it right on the head of the reason I'm picking the Legion over NRG is because of their tank play. And I wasn't smart enough to do that for the actual grand finals and pick the better tank duo between the Spitfire and the Fusion. But if anything, that match taught me that picking the tank duo is probably the smart choice. And it's, Gods and Panker are probably it's probably the best tank duo, period, in contenders. Those two should be in the Overwatch League as a duo. They really should. And, hopefully they are, maybe with the Gladiators, maybe without. But I think Panker and Gods will take over this, and I think the Legion will probably sneak on by.
Yeah, I mean, who knows with Fisher kind of on the way out for the Gladiators, and, who knows what's going to happen to Void at that point, since they were kind of a duo. There's a good chance that we might see the Legion tank duo play for the Gladiators in Season 2.
And it would be good for them. They get, that consistent, you get two consistent tanks and not a diva. See, that was double there. And diva, yeah,
I got you.
You got it.
All right, so moving on briefly, I want to update everyone on Contenders Korea. As I mentioned, we are already at the grand finals. We're not quite there yet. The grand finals will be on Friday, this upcoming Friday on August 10th. But just to go through the bracket, we saw Con2 Panthera defeat GC Busan Wave 3-0. We saw Metabellum defeat O2 Ardeant 3-0. So last season's Cinderella story already out of the way. We saw Runaway defeat MVP Space 3-1. Element Mystic defeated last season's champions X6 Gaming 3-2. And then we saw in the semis, Con2 Panthera defeat Metabellum 3-1, and Runaway defeated Element Mystic 3-1. So we got Con2 Panthera going up against Runaway, the boys in pink, on Friday. That's at 10 p.m. Pacific time. So, it's a late one. I mean, the Korean contender stuff is always really late. But fingers crossed, Runaway is hashtag forever second. I hope to God this is going to be it. I want them to finally get that win that has eluded them, all of these years, because there's always one team in particular that just can't seem to win the big one. It started with Reunited and their 18 different running names during a time when they were an organization. Then it's been passed on to Runaway, so I'm hoping this will be the one time it happens so they can just close that chapter in their career, and we could finally move on and just abolish that hashtag and just save it for Spider with the pick'ems, because that's really where it deserves to be.
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh. All right. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't follow the Korean scene as much as you do, although I should, because that's where the majority of the Overwatch League players next year are going to be coming from, if I'm playing the odds. But, I mean, Runaway is, the ones, like you said, they're the forever second. They're the new Forever Second? Because wasn't Envious Forever Second? What EU team used to be Forever Second?
It was Reunited. Yeah.
Reunited. All right.
Reunited,
So-
United, we united, reunited,
And then Runaway.
and now it's Runaway.
Now it's Runaway. So, this will be good. I can't say I'm gonna stay up and watch it because 10 o'clock Pacific time on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Not gonna be staying up to watch that, but I'll watch it on Saturday. I'll try and stay spoiler free and watch it, but it will be good. It will be fun to watch. See
Yeah.
what kind of crazy shenanigans they come up with.
Yeah, there were plenty of that in the Runaway Element Mystic match in the semis, so definitely check that one out. But shifting gears to the Overwatch League, we got some pretty big news in regards to a certain Dallas Fuel player, and our dad Seagull is retiring from professional Overwatch. So, Seagull is a fan favorite player, and he's looking to focus back on streaming moving forward. So, kind of like a brief background, Seagull started with the NRG family back in the day, back when NRG couldn't escape the 7th and 8th place position in any tournament that they entered, and they were kind of the meme team of streamers, which, case in point, also kind of happened to the Dallas Fuel in a sense, because, they had XQC, they had Seagull, two of the, bigger streamers of Overwatch out there. So, because of that, Dallas had a huge following just out of the gate because of Seagull and XQC. So, Seagull originally joined Team Envy back in 2017, and this was back when Envious had an undefeated regular season run throughout Contenders North America, Season 1 of 2017. See, when they added the year and, the numbers, it's all confusing, but that was last year. Not last season, last year. And Seagull had won the championship for Contenders with Envy, because they did win throughout the playoffs as well. So Seagull would then move on to play for Dallas Fuel in the Overwatch League, where, he primarily was picking up the off-tank role. We saw him play quite a bit of D.Va. We saw a lot of mechanical skill and just game knowledge really on that role, which, showed so much potential, and, he still had the potential to provide DPS for the team. And, this was a player who always dreamed of being a pro player, but it definitely came at a cost, because kind of leading up to the league, Seagull did put on, some weight. He got sleep apnea, and, I'm sure there was a part of him that, felt kind of bad for kind of abandoning his Twitch viewership and, his fan base. Because he was making a lot of money streaming as part of the NRG organization, and he's looking at just returning to playing Overwatch more as a hobby, just not having that added stress of, winning as an organization, and, there's no doubt, money talks. It doesn't matter how much you're making in the Overwatch League. But, to not have, that chip on your shoulder or have to worry about everything around you, it's just gonna free up Seagull so much. And, I'm happy for him. He gave it a shot. He gave it an earnest try. And, who knows what the situation would have been like if, Dallas didn't kind of go through the ringer, basically, throughout this season, because, they did have quite a few stories kind of circulate throughout the season, but I'm happy to see Seagull back full-time streaming, and it's a good thing for Twitch, too, because there have been plenty of times where Overwatch has been struggling to get viewers on Twitch, and having Seagull back full-time, along with XQC, is going to bring a lot more eyes back to the game on Twitch. So I'm excited for that aspect, and I know he was officially back full-time streaming earlier today, so I know he's streaming a little bit more tonight, so I'll definitely be tuning in after Contenders, but I'm just happy for him. He doesn't have to worry about all of the outside stuff, all the stress, or, unnecessary drama from teammates or anything like that. He can just go back to having fun and playing the game that he enjoys.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that kind of went into this. Is like you talked about his health, and he was burnt out from the game. And after the Overwatch League, he did say he was very burnt out from playing in the Overwatch League. I think he could have survived that, except so many things were kind of going against him. He was making less money in the Overwatch League, that we know, than over streaming. And he started to take on more of like an actual starter's role in the Dallas Fuel. But now, once they bought Team Envy as their contenders team, I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall that maybe some of his actual playtime is going to go down, because he was started to get more playtime as the off tank. Well, who's probably the best player on Team Envy? Probably McGreevy, who plays Diva. So you have Diva in waiting, who's one of the best. You have, so your playtime is probably going to diminish no matter what, because he's kind of been a jack of all trades. With Genji, Pharah, everything basically outside of Widowmaker. We never really saw him truly on Widowmaker on that team. But you had all that, and then you add in the money, the money aspect of, oh yeah, if I don't play for Dallas Fuel, I'll make more money. All of that combined kind of, I think, played into his decision. And good for him. I watched his stream today. I watched a little bit of it last night. And he was very upfront, open. Whenever anyone asked him about it, he would answer any question about it. And he's like, Overwatch will still be my number one game I play, but he's like, sometimes, later at night, I'll want to play something else. So I'll go play a different game, and I have the freedom to do that and stuff like that. So good on him. Good for him. I think he's better for the Overwatch League as a streamer. Mm-hmm. I truly do. I think he'll bring more to the team more to the league as a streamer than as an individual player. And certain people have that, him. I think, and again, I can't remember who said this on a different show, but people like Jake. Jake is another one who could probably start to see himself getting pushed out of the starter role with the Houston Outlaws, but could turn towards more of a caster streamer type of thing. And you might start seeing more of this in the Overwatch League. As much as you don't want to admit it, you could really start to see more players being like, less stress, more money, if they became a full-time Overwatch streamer. Not many could do it, because you do need a significant amount of viewership and followers to do that. But I think Siegel said just yesterday alone, after the announcement, he gained 1,300 subscribers. Just yesterday after the announcement. Not a lot of people could have that pull that
right.
off.
And that's not even including what he'll get when he streams a little bit later tonight either.
Exactly. And not to mention what he can probably get from sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
Like he probably couldn't take sponsorships previously because he was on the Dallas Fuel. So who knows if that's the case? He could start to get other sponsorships, anything like that. So yeah, this was the smart decision by Siegel. He wasn't a powerhouse, and he wasn't guaranteed to be a starter every single map for the Dallas Fuel. So I don't think this hurts the Fuel at really much at all. I think the Dallas Fuel could take, honestly, I think they could take advantage of it by really throwing their support. I even saw something from our favorite Leak Boy that the Dallas Fuel are going to retire Siegel's number. Okay, do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe still include Siegel as part of the team so you get his viewership to follow the fuel type of thing. But yeah, no, I think it was a great move. Great move.
Absolutely. Okay, so other than that, we also, with Contenders going on right now, we actually have some home and away skins specifically for Contenders. So I'll be honest, like, the logos for this are way too similar to the Houston Outlaws one, because if you've seen the Contenders logo colors, it's pretty close. It's a little bit more grayish as opposed to the black that you get for the Outlaws, but, when you look at it, that's definitely, like, the first thing that crosses your mind. But, I thought it was cool that we are getting home and away skins, at least for, Contenders. And, we did see them debut tonight for the NA playoffs, which, we talked briefly about earlier. But who knows if we'll actually see this stuff being, like, unlockable. I was kind of hoping that maybe that would be something that we could, earn by watching Contenders, but that does not appear to be the case.
Yeah, I was hoping that too when I first heard about it. Then, like you said, I looked at the skins and I'm like, oh, all right, it's the Houston Outlaws skins. And watching Contenders tonight, I'm going to be negative Nancy here. I could not be more unhappy with the skins. And it's not like the actual like color of the skins or whatever. It's the fact that you're using the same two skins in every map. Right. So it's like, okay, I just watched Fusion versus Toronto Esports. Okay, so the Fusion are using the same skins as Team Envy is wearing. And then next week, Team Envy is wearing a different skin and Philadelphia Fusion are using the same skin. And it's just like, there's no... It's basically every team is forced to wear the same uniform. It's basically like going back to a Catholic school. Like... Everyone has to wear the same uniform the entire time, and you can't differentiate between the teams. Like, there's no, like, you can't tell. Like, outside of the names, you can't tell the difference between the Fusion and Team Envy tonight. You just can't. So it's like, okay, I get why they gave them, like, home and away, because they don't want them to just wear, like, like the traditional, the classic skins for the characters. But I mean, how incredibly hard is it for them to have their own skins?
I don't know, and a lot of them are basically just recolors.
And the thing is the majority of the teams are affiliate teams. So it's not like they're gonna change all that often. The only odd team out this stage or the Contenders playoffs is LNL. And easy enough, they're like burgundy and white. Basically all it is. Like, you can reskin stuff in the game rather easily. Even if they didn't do specific, like, don't even have to go into detail like you do with the Overwatch League. All they would have to do is do the same skins, just change the two primary colors. That's all they would have to do, which is easy to do. I don't care what anyone says. It's easy to do in a game, just to change the color of something. And I think they should do that instead of causing this confusion of Team Envy and the Fusion are the same team. So,
yeah, because basically, like, right now, the way how they have it set up is basically like if you were the higher seed, you were the home team. So you have the gray and the green skin, and then if you were the lower seed, you end up having the away skin, which is the white one. But yeah, definitely, like, it's probably gonna change for certain teams each round, basically moving forward. So, it's a start, not necessarily the start that we wanted in regards to the whole home and away for Contenders, but at least, like, it's an attempt to go in that direction. I want it to be further along than what we've already seen, because it is going to be a little bit too repetitive, not having the different variations and only having the same 2 types. So we'll see whether or not they kind of adjust on that in future seasons, as I can't talk. So just an update on Overwatch League expansion teams. We can confirm that Atlanta and Guangzhou are official expansion teams. So that will bring the total franchises for the Overwatch League up to 14. So we're still looking at potentially 4 more expansion teams in the upcoming weeks. And now I really don't feel like we need to re-go over the stuff that we'd already covered. So, Paris, I don't know if it's just a case of the deal isn't finalized or whatnot. But, that was the other rumored expansion team that we had talked about. But, I was hoping that maybe we were going to get something out of China Joy for the Guangzhou team, but that did not happen, unfortunately. So going to be waiting a little bit on that branding reveal. So hopefully we'll start hearing more news about that and other expansion teams in the upcoming weeks. But we do have an update on the Overwatch League All-Star game, and this came earlier today. And if you're worrying about the finals MVP missing the All-Star game, fret not, because Prophet is in. So, due to an injury, Prophet will be replacing his Spitfire teammate Birdring on the Atlantic Division All-Star roster. And when I saw this, and my only thought was, okay, this is all just a front. Bird's son is just mourning over the retirement of his bird dad. Birdring and Seagull were very close, and he needed some more time to himself. But in all seriousness, he's just, he had injured his wrist at some point during the season, which, that's when London, went through some tough times in Stage 3 and Stage 4. And it was all because of playing, what game was it? It was the bucket game. Was it Get Out of Here? It's something like that.
Yeah.
Where, you're using
something like that. I can't remember exactly what game it was.
I can't remember the name.
It's going to bother me, but yeah, go on.
But regardless, so just as an update, so Prophet is in, Birdring is out. I'm pretty sure Seagull isn't playing either. I don't think they've announced a replacement for Seagull in the All-Star game as of yet. But the All-Star weekend does kick off on Saturday, August 25th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That is the day of custom skill matches. Hopefully, Widowmaker Headshot only FFA DM. Fingers crossed. But the All-Star game follows on that Sunday, August 26th at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where, of course, the Atlantic All-Stars will go head-to-head with the Pacific All-Stars. So, at least now this will kind of, calm the nerves of some of the people that were complaining, oh, well, why isn't Prophet in here? Now he is, out of the expense of a teammate. But he's in, and I'm sure people will find something else to complain about in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that Prophet's in. I can see why Prophet didn't get in, because honestly, in Stage 3 and Stage 4, the Spitfire weren't excelling. So, the Prophet and the Birdring, and, the whole Spitfire team was not on the forefront of everyone's mind. Prophet should be in there. It's just, honestly, it came down to probably Prophet and Saya Player. And they probably have Saya Player in there because he was the only Florida Mayhem representative. And that's what kept Prophet out. So, I don't think, he was the finals MVP, but overall, the entire Spitfire roster was not playing that good Stage 3, start of Stage 4. They just weren't. So, good on Prophet being in there. God, I really hope they do a Widowmaker Headshot only. Mystery Heroes. I just want funky wonky games.
Mm-hmm. So I can confirm the name of the game title. That was a reason that Birdring initially got injured, because he slammed his desk too hard when he was playing it. Getting Over It. So yeah. So it basically just he needs some more time to rest up. Obviously, the All-Star game is just for fun. So maybe Prophet will Brigitte it up and just dominate for that team. But anyways, we gotta talk about the summer games for our main discussion, and they actually teased another skin that was for Zenyatta, as a matter of fact. If I can find it, I will link it in a second. But we've seen different. We had like an initial preview which showed like the event start date, and they previewed a new arena. So the Summer Games will return to Overwatch on August 9th. That is tomorrow. That's Thursday. That will go away on August 30th. So as per usual, Lucio Ball will be front and center, with matches taking place in a new stadium, which is in Busan, which is in Korea. So over the course of the week, we've gotten a look at some of the new skins that will be coming our way with the Summer Games. And, there's a pretty good mix of, like, summer theme skins and sports skins. So far, outside of the one that was just announced, which I'll get into after the fact, we have Wave Racer D.Va, Gridiron Heart, which is a football skin for Reinhardt. We have Catcher Winston for baseball. We have Cabana Ana, Lacrosse Roadhog, and we have Mexico Sombra. So, I would say kind of like across the board, there is one in particular that, the fans are fully behind except for you. So, and what's with the displeasure for the Wave Racer skin for D.Va in your mind?
I mean, it's fine. Like, the skin is fine. It's one of those things where I'm just like, everyone's falling head over heels in love with it, and I just don't get it. It's like, it's a cool skin. I'm not gonna lie, but it's just meh. Like, I mean, like you said, Wave Racer for Nintendo 64 was the shit, but I don't know. I think the best thing about this is that D.Va's actually wearing a life jacket, like, inside the mech. I think that's the best part of all of it. But it's probably the second or third best legendary skin out of all of them. So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at this Zenyatta one right now. Yeah, must have. Baseball Zenyatta? Come on. Oh.
I mean,
that's a day one buy for
those orbs are flying very fast, so it makes total sense. So I find it interesting though, because this is our second baseball skin already for the Summer Games. So yeah, definitely picking up this one. And he has a hat. I mean, what is funnier than an Omnic in a hat? I don't know. But I thought it's pretty cool. Like, he's in a full like uniform too with that. But I like kind of like the casual, summer Ana skin that they have. The Roadhog one is fantastic, and of course, we got the National Pride one for Sombra, with her representing Mexico. So it's got like the pride, or just the Mexico colors with that skin. So all in all, like, I'm pretty happy with the designs. The Wave Racer one, like, I like the sunglasses. I'm not as crazy about it as most of the community is, but D.Va typically has some pretty good skins, so it's very hard to kind of like gauge like her skins in regards to like the rest of her collection, just because she does have a lot of memorable ones. So I feel like the more skins that we get, the less impactful they appear to be for D.Va, and that's really what it is for me in this case. But that being said, as players have been waiting for the release of the Summer Games, we've actually seen some people start to come up with their own custom games for the Summer Games. So we've been seeing Pulse Bomb Volleyball. So basically you have a Tracer who launches a Pulse Bomb, and then you have two teams of Genjis, so it's a 2v2, and they're just looking to deflect, the Pulse Bomb back and forth over a Reinhardt shield. We've also seen Hammond Uppercut Volleyball, where you have like a Mercy damage beam as the net, and you have, you know, two Doomfists going kind of like back and forth, looking to uppercut Hammonds back and forth. But like, here's the thing with this one. Like, I feel like that one's gonna be a lot harder to do overall. At least with the control in when you're uppercutting, as opposed to the deflect one. I feel like the deflect one will be easier to kind of like move around. But you know, we've also kind of seen like the Hammond racing as well. You know, with the, you know, lowered cooldown of his grapple hook, which I think is pretty fun. But are there like any other like custom games you've kind of seen that could like maybe be represented as like sports, or do any of these kind of like pique your interest?
Well, all right. So, I mean, the big one that I keep hearing about is well, Lucio Ball will be in there, but Lucio Ball with Hammond as the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that one a lot. The Genji Tracer Bomb one is actually super, like, that's the most skill right there, because you have to hit it over a Reinhardt shield, and that's really the tricky part. Because it can get stuck on the shield. So you got that. I don't like the Doomfist one. I do like the traditional. The one from last year was the Lucio Ball, the Lucio Roadhog Boop volleyball. So lowered cooldowns, boop Reinhardt back and forth. You can do it now with Hammond, or you can really do it with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just boop volleyball. That's always a fun one. I remember playing that. So I think people are just going to have a lot of fun with this. And I think Blizzard should encourage this kind of weird stuff, because it just gets people to play custom games more. It adds that different, unique, like, funness to the game.
Mm-hmm. But the real question is, who's going to be our third for Copa Lucio Ball?
Oh God! You actually want me to play Lucio Ball?
Why are you that terrible at it? Then no.
I don't play it that often.
Wow.
Like, I don't play it enough to be good or bad at it.
Well, that's okay, because I'm amazing at it.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I'll just win. I'll just win from the goalie.
Do it.
Okay, so now that we know the dates, you know, one of the things that we had kind of talked about in the past was, you know, with the All-Star skins, we weren't sure if this was going to be something that's going to be rewarded from watching or from currency. So now that we know that, you know, the Summer Games are extending past the All-Star game, like, do you think it's for sure going to be currency now, or is it going to be just from watching the game?
I think it will be from watching. I really think it will be from watching. Just because this is the slow time for the channel, for viewership, and I think giving away those skins will be a good way to get, like, the spontaneous viewership between the grand finals and the start of the World Cups type stuff.
Right.
So I think this is a smart decision.
Yeah, not even
if they go that route.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because, like, I don't think they want to put players in a position where they're like, oh, great, now I have to save that much more currency to be able to obtain these skins, because, you know, there are going to be people that are stockpiling, you know, 3,000 coins for whatever legendary skin that they want, because they are going to be at full cost, and we do know that the All-Star Game ones are also legendary, so they don't want to just, like, drain everyone's currency or put people in a position where they're not going to be able to obtain those skins all in all. But, you know, like, looking at all of the skins, like, I do feel kind of encouraged to get one of the bundles for this event in particular, just because across the board, I like what we're getting so far. You know, I don't think we've seen the last of the teases. We might have, like, one more maybe before it is all said and done, but, like, I'm very happy with the designs and the direction that they're going with this one, and I'm looking forward to the return of Lucio Ball and my Copa Lucio Ball score to be miles better than my actual competitive score, because it always ends up happening, because I'm that much better at that as opposed to the actual game mode. But I am really anxious to see if we get any more interesting bugs with Lucio Ball where, random heroes kind of spawn in game, like what happened the last time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I also got to take a look at what the old skins that released last year that will be 1,000 gold currency instead of 3,000.
Well, the only one you for sure need is a Mercury. If you
I
don't
have a
that one.
Mercury
Okay.
on 2 accounts,
Okay.
2 of my 3 accounts. So I figure that's good enough to have it on 2 of the 3. But like I forgot which ones were 3,000. So what is it? The Grill Master Soldier. I think that was part of this last year. That's a big one that I think you need.
Mhm.
The beach McCree is actually a good one from last year, I think too.
Yeah, I think they also had the Junkrat lacrosse. I'm pretty sure it was. Wasn't that one too?
I think it was rugby.
Was it rugby? They look
I
so
think it was-
similar.
It really does.
And you can't forget the summer widow skin
True.
with the beach towels. I mean that's everywhere. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, no, that was I'll be spending some currency.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
So let's go ahead. Let's close it out so we can go catch the second half of this other quarter final match for NA. So if you guys want to help us out, one of the best ways to do that is to leave us a review over on iTunes. We're always looking for insight on how we can make for a better listening experience for you guys. And I do have an international review that, I don't always have the time to check some of the, the out of country ones, but I did find a recent review that I want to read, which is a 5-star review from Little Robbie from the UK. It says, I've been listening for some months now, and it is great if you are interested in Overwatch, and if you see this, keep it up, and love you guys. Work, thanks. So thank you so much, Little Robbie, and it's always nice to hear from people, internationally. Like, we don't always get international reviews, but we love when we see them, so we can kind of see, like, how far our range actually is. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. To know where I am spiting London Spitfire fans across the pond. Is a good thing. So, that's just me.
I mean, at least they're on board with one of us, okay? You don't have to love everyone,
Fine.
but it helps. But anyways, thanks for that review, Little Robbie. And
Thank you.
of course, we do have Overwatch Recall. That is our podcast directory for Overwatch, Overwatch League, and Path to Pro content. Every Sunday, we release episodic listings, and of course, we also have a podcast for that. So be sure to check out the directory at owlnshow.com/OWRecall. And if you're looking for the weekly podcast listings, that can be found at owlnshow.com/weeklyrecall. So everything just condenses there. Very easy to find all of the content. We've had some weeks that are a little bit slower than others, but there is still a lot of content out there to listen to, so be sure to check that out. But Ed, why don't you go ahead and let our listeners and viewers know where they can get a hold of our podcast and ourselves on the social media.
Perfect. They can reach us at email at hndoverwatch@gmail.com. You can reach us on the Twitter sphere at hndoverwatch. We do have a website. It is owlnshow.com. It is up and fandiddly-tastic, thanks to you, Totem. You can follow us on Twitch, even though you should be here watching us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/OWLNshow. So we are a Twitch affiliate, so you can support the show by subscribing to our Twitch channel, unlock our network emoticon. So thanks again to everyone who's been watching our shows live and interacting with the chat. If you'd like to catch us live, we broadcast minimum 3 nights a week. Monday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, you have the Overwatch League Network. Wednesdays, you have us at 5 p.m. Pacific on Heroes Never Die. And then Thursdays, you have the Backcap at 7 p.m. Pacific. And then host streams will usually be held Fridays and Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. if everything goes according to plan. Not something that, set in stone, but we try. Me and Totem had some shenanigans last Saturday, or 2 Saturdays ago. That was a lot of fun. You can also come and join us on Discord at discord.me/OWLN show. And then finally, you can come and see us on our YouTube channel at the Overwatch League Network. So we're getting close to our custom URL. If you could help us out by subscribing to our channel, we'd greatly appreciate it. A couple more subscribers, we get, you don't have to type in the random things. You just can, YouTube.
all 26 random characters? Yeah.
Yeah. We get our custom URL, which would be so much easier to find. On there, you can find all our podcast episodes for Heroes Never Die, Overwatch League Network, top plays, and other videos, including the hamsters from Spider. You can find me personally on Twitter at EdenarOverwatch or on Twitch at EdenarOW. And Totem, where can they find you at?
Well, I am over on Twitter at TimelyDrunkCTR, and obviously, with us kind of being in the lull period, I'm trying to figure out what exactly I want to do with the back cap. It might just be that we kind of dissolve it into OWLN momentarily, just because obviously we're going to expand on World Cup coverage. So I'm still trying to figure out what exactly we're doing with that. So kind of stay tuned on updates with that. And I'm sure at some point during this event, I will have Lucio Ball montages of my stellar plays from the Summer Games. It's bound to happen. I did it on my YouTube last Summer Games, so I'm probably going to do the same for our channel. But that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and close it out for tonight. So thank you so much for hanging out tonight for our live show and listening in. Again, this has been Heroes Never Die, episode 123. I am Totally Drunk, joined, as always, by my co-host, Edenar, and we will see you guys back next week. Enjoy the Summer Games, enjoy the playoffs, but for now, that'll do it. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to Heroes Never Die. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at HND Overwatch and join us on Discord at discord.me/OWLN show.